Now we want to talk about some points about the flaws, and I hope you can learn it all. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is the errors of the floor. Now, what are these errors? What things stop the floors from finishing when we drag them? Or we can say, when it's finished, an error is appeared. Now, these errors have three kinds. Three things might happen that our floor shows an error. That I will tell you the solutions to. The first one is that your floor is not closed. And I should tell you that it's not always that clear. Sometimes the space is so little that you can't even see it, you might miss it. But Revit does not leave you alone in here and gives you an error that here says lines must be in closed loops. And it also shows that open part with the orange color, if you can see. And you can edit it. And the solution is so easy, it's just a simple trim. You just trim it and then it's over. Just like that. Now, the second problem that might happen to you is that you stick several shapes to each other. If you draw another rectangle next to this one, well, it's okay. But if you stick something else to it, like this one, it's wrong. Alright? You can have only one shape here in this design. If you have another shape, it needs to have a space from it. So we can't just draw something here. Or for example, we can't add this here. And if I have such thing in my mind, well, these lines are extra. I mean, I should trim them. Alright. So if you want to add something to your floor, you have to delete the lines that are in the middle. Okay? So the next problem is to stick some shapes together. That this is wrong. But the third one that I think is the most important one, and it's also a bit difficult to find it, is the overlap error. When you have very big projects, these things happen to you a lot. A lot of overlaps are made in the project. Let me draw it. Let me also make a space here and tell you how it's solved. Like this, and one extra on this one. Don't just care about the highlight, many times you don't see it at all. Now it's something that seems so perfect, but when I click on finish, it tells me that you have an overlap, and it shows some orange lines too. Alright, now I want to tell you the solutions. I teach you two ways to fix this. Here, how many lines should we have? 2. But when I open a box here, I see in here, as you can see, that it says 4. We should have 2 lines in here, but it says 4. Then you move your mouse on these lines, you see this is the 1, 2, and the 3, but where's the 4th one? Now you understand that 2 lines are completely on each other. So you draw in a smaller box, and then you find out that these are 2 lines, one extra. This is one way, by opening a box. Now here it shows 2. And when I open a box here, it says it has 2 lines. This is one way that I use it a lot myself. But there's also another way, which is a golden way to do it. So move your mouse on one of these lines and tap once. You see, it's stuck, and that means that you have an issue in here that you should know. So when I zoom in, I see that yes, it's open. So I trim it. Again, I move my mouse somewhere, no matter where, and then tap. and I see that it doesn't stick, so it's okay. But here, what is the problem? It's not open, definitely. So when I have doubt, I open a box. It's not this one, but it's this one. So I select it and delete it. Again, tap. It goes until the end, so it seems to be okay. But pay attention, we still have one more level. Be careful not to see some weird spots, for example these two, that are different. I zoom in and I see, yes, here is an overlap too. You can delete one of them and then continue the other one, or delete the overlap part. I tap again and it looks perfect. Well, I told you the golden way to edit the floors. So that was the way of solving the errors of floors. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is related to a secondary tool for select. So pay attention very well, because it's really important. Well, in the old versions of Revit, when we wanted to select something, we could not select it by clicking on its area. Just like that. I could just click on the edges, and that was the same thing about the walls. We couldn't select by clicking on the middle, but from here, that was okay. But eventually, a tool was added to Revit called Select Element by Face. And it's actually clear by the name too. Select the elements by the face, not the edge. Just the edge actually. Even with the face too. That's what it does. So if you turn this on, you can select the object from the middle too. And I'm sure it's going to be so much easier for us, so much quicker. So you can activate it from here. If it has a cross on it, it's inactivated. If it's this way, it's activated. You can also activate it from here under the modify. You can see a list. You can activate it from here too. You can see the select elements by face. Alright, this select elements by face has an issue, and that's it does not work in the views that are wireframe. So if you wireframe this, well, it won't work. And it's actually right, because there's no face anymore. Well, the wireframe view is made of wire. There's nothing in the middle of it. But if there's anything except this wireframe, it works. And it's actually used a lot in the plans. For example, you're now in level 2 and you want to select this floor in here, for example, to edit it, or I don't know, copy it. But if your view is wireframe, it's not selected. It has to be on hidden line and then select it. If I enter a view and I see that I can't select the floor, I have to check two things. One of them we said is the wireframe, that it should not be this way. The next one is that I have to make sure that my select elements by face is on. If your select elements by face is on and your view is not on wireframe, it's definitely selected. If you see it's not selected, then maybe there's no floor in here. So to make sure there is actually a floor in here, there is a very simple way, and that's shading the view. If you do that, you can find out if there is any view in here. But if your select elements by face is on and your view is not wireframe, definitely there's no floor. You might also think that why there is an on and off key for this. It's so useful, why would we want to turn it off? But I tell you, that's wrong. Many times it's encumbrance. But when? Imagine that now I want to open a box to select all these walls. So if I click here to open a box, Instead of that, it selects the floor. Well, I don't want it. I want to open a box. I want to select my walls. In these times, either I have to wireframe my view or turn this off. You see, because if I click it instead of opening a box, it selects it. There's also a trick. If you want, you can use it. If your select elements by face is on and you want to open a box, in the point that you want to open it, you can hold the shift, and when you want to drag it, leave it. Let's say it again. All right, so I can understand. In the point that you want to start the box, hold the shift and start opening the box. Now I'm still holding the shift, and yet I haven't finished opening the box, so I leave the shift and then continue the box. It kind of turns off the select elements by face temporary. The next thing is about editing the floors. When you draw a floor, for example, here, finish, no, I need to edit. For example, make a fillet. Now, do I still have edit? Yes, I want to do this too. But suddenly I remember that, oh, I should have made this one fillet too. So what should I do now? I will select my floor, and be careful about all those select elements by face and the wireframe. And then you can click on the edit boundary from here. When you click on it, it goes back to the sketch mode and you can make the changes again. Alright, now always remember something. In Revit, anytime you see an edit appears after selecting an object, instead you can double click on that object. Double click in this floor, for example, if you want to edit it. It's the same as clicking on edit boundary. Now, one question. If I draw another shape into this, what do you think happens? You might have guessed right. That's right, it's empty. So, if we draw another shape into our floors, a hole is created in it. Now, tell me this. I'm double clicking to see the edits, right? Now, if I draw one more in it, what happens? That's right. What about one more? You're completely right. This is what happens, as you can see. So you learned a good point now. If you're still editing and you haven't clicked on the finish yet, if you draw shapes into each other, one of them becomes empty and the next one is not. And the same thing happens if I continue drawing shapes. Now I want to show you a common mistake that is made by a lot of people. Many people do this. They draw a floor and then click on finish and again click on floor and draw it on this one, and then they wonder why it's not empty. Well, it's another floor. Alright, that's not what I said. I told you that if you draw another shape while you're editing, it gets empty. Alright, now that you learned this, I want to ask you a question. So, pay attention. And it's really important for you to know that your answer is correct or not. So, if I'm about to concrete here, the kind of the concrete that we are about to spill in here is different with the concrete under the building. This one. Alright. So, if I go to level 1 and select a floor and draw it like this, well, it doesn't work. Alright. So, what should I do now? I should delete that part that is related to under the building from this part. But do you know if there is any quicker solution? Can you say? Think. What is the fastest way to do it? Alright, let's see if you have guessed right or not. If I copy the flow which is in here and I do it on itself, and I also remember that in Revit, if I want to paste something on its own place, the line to current view is off, you can click on the line to the same place. This one is the same as the current view, it's just special for the 3D. But if you want to use the current view again, you need to go to level 1. You select it, copy it, and then current view. But anyway, it's not important, I just want to copy now. So, I copy and paste on itself. But what happens? Now, how many floors do we have here? 2. I select one of these floors and I click on edit. Now, if I draw a rectangle in here now, do you agree that this one that was full before becomes the whole of this big rectangle now? And if I finish it, I have a floor that has an empty part. This one. So this can be a very, very good method. Let me do it one more time so that you learn it very well. I copied this floor that was here and I pasted it on itself to the same place. Now I have 2 floors. So I click on edit boundary of one of these floors. Then I go to the plan and draw a very big rectangle. So when I draw this, because this shape is into it, it becomes the whole of the big rectangle. And then I finish. Alright, that's it. Now, by using this technique that I told you now, I want to make here a bit organized. I don't know, for example, design a pool somewhere or design a garden somewhere. So I select the floor and make this empty to design a pool. So edit boundary and then I draw a circle to make it empty so that I can draw a floor that there is water in it, or for example, trees. I don't know, anything. Now I click on floor and then I draw another floor with new materials in it. But for now you don't know the new material, so you can open this and for example click on wood in here to just have the different color. You will learn all of these next session. The thickness, the materials, all of them you will learn. So I select the wood only to have the different color. Now I want to draw a circle here. I select it and now I'm expecting it to show me the center, but it doesn't. It actually happens a lot that you cannot have the center of a circle. So you should move your mouse on the boundary of the circle and click on SC shortcut, which stands for snap center. So SC, the snap center. When you do this, it shows you the center of the circle, but you should not move your mouse because if you do it, it will disappear. You should just click from here. Just stay on the boundary and click, and then you can see the center, and then click on finish. Now let me tell you another example. Select the floor, double click or edit, draw a circle, it becomes empty. I draw another one, but this time it's full. You know, like these islands that frogs jump on, you know, these things. I don't know what they're called. Imagine it's one of these. So I click on floor. Now I want to add another floor to here that its material is water. So I select the circle and come on the boundary, click on SC, And again, one more click. But now if I click on finish, this one will be full of water too. So again, I move my mouse here and click on SC, and then one more click and it's over. You see? That's how it is. Now let's draw a short wall around this. Well, how should we draw the short walls? That's right, with unconnected method. I select the wall from level 1, unconnected, for example 60 centimeters. Then I select the circle, click on SC, I drag it. Now I want the wall to be out of it, so I click on space. You see, just like that. Now let's review, but this time here, unconnected 60 centimeters, the circle, SC, click, drag it, and then space. And that's it. So you can create holes in your design by editing the floors and drawing another line. You can also use this technique to create voids. Of course, there are more developed ways for creating the voids, but let me tell you an example about this too. For example, I go to level 4, I select this and then edit, and then draw a circle as a void. Then click on finish, I go to level 3, and I should see the void, right? Now, before you enter the edit, you should change your underlay to the top level, which is level 4, and now you can see it. So now select this floor. In order to select it, pay attention to what I said before. So click on edit, pick the circle, and again SC shortcut, draw, and that's it. Alright, the last thing that I'm going to tell you in this episode is creating the shelter. To design the shelter, we have two methods that one of them is not useful at all. And I just tell you to know it, to be aware of it. One way is that you make a top offset for the wall. For example, we want to create a shelter here. I select this and this one. And then I go to top offset and, for example, make it 1.10. Now it's a shelter, but what is the problem? Well, it's got two problems. One of them is that I said everything should be calculated separated. Now we don't have the size of the shelter. But the main problem is that the wall as a shelter can be completely different with different materials, for example. But in this design, the materials of the wall will be added to the shelter, which is a big problem and it's not a good way at all. But sometimes, for example, you're in a hurry or you have a phase 1 map, and it's okay to use it, but generally for the phase 2 maps, you should not use it. So what should we do? Just like this, we go and draw it like a new wall. For example, now I want to go here and draw a shelter. In which level should I draw it? Well, if you have a big project, you don't remember which floor it is. In these times, you should select that floor, just like that, and then it shows you the level. You see, it says it's level 5. Now, for example, this one. In the big projects, you don't remember the levels at all. You should just select on the floor and then it shows you the level. So I go to level 5, then I turn on the underlay of the level 4 which is under it, and then I start drawing, and you can also copy and paste the down floor and edit it. You can do that too, I will tell you. I select the wall, unconnected 1.10, and then I draw one more in here. You see? That's it. I draw again. Let me set these two views next to each other that you can see both of them while I'm drawing. I select the wall and then drag it from here to here. And as I told you, you can copy and paste too. So let me undo and go to level 4. I tap on this wall, copy and go to level 5. Then paste current view, and that's it. Again, I tap and select these, and the unconnected is 1.10. And I can also change the kind of the wall too, but not now. In many parts like here, you cannot even test the top offset, because now if you make a top offset for it, it goes into the walls on it. It's not possible. You should just draw the shelter. In level 3 is these two. So I draw unconnected 1.10 space and until here. Let me draw this arc too. I select this and then locate the center. Then I start from here, click on space until here, and that's it. Now what should you do? Definitely I insist that you practice all of these that I explained to you in this episode. Alright? I have 3 expectations from you. One of them is that design this, mostly the circles, to practice the SC, and you can draw the rectangle too. So make holes and shelters, all of these. Next one is to create voids like I did. And 3, create shelters for the whole project. Do these 3 and become good at it so that we can go to the next part.